What's up, Lions fans? Welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of the Lions Main Podcast. This week we talk big contracts and cap space, which players we think Jim could beat in hand-to-hand combat, and flag football coming to the next Olympics. Thanks for tuning in, and see you guys on the other side.
This is the Lions Main Podcast.
Been good. It's finally not 95 degrees in New York, so no undersweat right now. But, my wife continues to make fantastic dinners. I just had another one today, a little pasta with a little Italian sausage. So, yeah, good.
Ooh, Italian sausage, like George. I like that.
No, yeah, little George accent. Ate a little bit of George.
Italian sausage, that must be a common thing in New York City, huh?
Yeah, that's right up there with the prosciutto and the gabagool.
You picked that up at the bodega?
Yeah, I went down to the bodega. There actually is a little Italian club near me called like the Giglio Club or something. It's like a men's club, but it looks like it's like Gigolo. I don't know. Could be a good little spot. East Williamsburg. Check it out.
Gigolo?
It's called like I don't know. It's spelled like Giglio. But I imagine like is it Rob Lowe? Not Rob Lowe. What's that guy's name that's in Gigolo? He's like Adam Sandler's friend.
Yeah. The "you can do it" guy.
Rob Schneider?
Yeah,
Rob
Schneider.
Yeah, I think I saw Rob Schneider walking out of there the other day.
Yeah, how about you check that out and let us know?
I will,
Yeah.
I'll
He's
go
been
get in there.
spectacular lately.
Has he been sexy?
No, he's been just... He's
I think you're the first person to ever say that, George.
Now. He's red-pilled. Is what I was
You were
gonna
the
say.
first person to ever say that.
He's
Rob
red-pilled.
Schneider is spectacular. I was being sarcastic, but yeah, he used to be funny.
Anyway, so talking about New York City, who's worse out there, the Giants fans or Jets fans?
Jets fans are more. I put it this way: Giants fans are more like Notre Dame fans, kind of like they complain, they whine a little bit, they're happy with their history, but overall they're just kind of like they're not too horrible. Jets fans are like Ohio State and Michigan fans, loud, always telling you about their team. And what's interesting,
Jets.
and that's all great and fine, but at least Michigan and Ohio State have done something. I really can't think of another fan base. I would say a parallel is the more recent Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears fans and Jets fans hate their team, but also act like their team is the best thing that's ever happened. So I would go Jets fans or worse.
Aaron Rodgers has a chance to do the funniest thing in sports history if he comes out and tears his Achilles on in the first 5 plays.
Yeah, no, he's got to run out with the American flag. He should really run out with like a RFK Jr. flag this time.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I had a philosophy for years because I obviously hate Packers. Even if he fell to me in whatever fantasy draft I was in, I would never, ever pick up Aaron Rodgers. I drafted him last year, late flyer, backup quarterback, and this mother effer, dude. He obviously that happened last year.
Okay,
so,
nobody cares about your fantasy football team.
hey, they suck. Okay.
Well,
I
last thing
think it's hilarious to listen to Caine talk about his fantasy football team. Mistake after mistake after mistake.
Yeah, everybody has kind of cheeks at fantasy football, but I also drafted Aaron Rodgers as my starting quarterback last year, so that just shows how smart I am. Because last year I drafted him like a couple of years before that, and he was like the 12th quarterback taken. And he went off, had like a top 5 fantasy, so I thought I was a genius. I was like, oh, I'll pick him again. No.
Hey, something we all knew: Jim wasn't a genius. But
Jim usually grits it out in fantasy football. He will make a couple mistakes, but he will grit his team to the playoffs and
He's the guy.
too.
He's the guy in the fantasy league. And listeners, he's the guy in your fantasy league that will have the lowest points for in the whole season, but somehow will just sneak out 1 point, 2 point victories and get to the playoffs.
hate that guy.
You know what?
And complain about
gonna-
points against.
Hey, Captain, both of you, Captain, you're Captain. Last year, 4th highest points, 2nd highest points against. So go to hell, number 1. And number 2, 2 years ago, I actually did make the playoffs with the
Hey,
lowest.
Jim, guess what?
What?
Nobody cares about your fantasy football team.
Speaking
my
of
mom
fantasy
said-
football, Adam, we're waiting.
Yeah.
He's
Calling
he's
you out.
lost. He's lost the fantasy football league 2 years in a row, so he's got to take the ACT. Everybody, put him in your prayers.
What was his first punishment again?
He wasn't allowed to shave his pubes for a year, and he had to give us monthly updates.
He definitely didn't follow through on that, so we should all pants him and glue him. All right.
What's
You can cut this
hilarious is
part
he
out.
did give us one update. He did give us one update, which is embarrassing.
He did.
Yeah. Speaking of Italian
1 month?
sausage, let's. Huh? Is it
1
sweet?
month? That's 1 month's worth?
Right. Yeah. Anyways, so speaking of Italian sausage, let's pass it over to the Italian stallion. Georgie.
Well,
How's it going to Detroit
Relax.
City,
Relax with
baby?
that. But I was doing good. I went to Memento, speaking of Italian, gelato and coffee. And it was great. I had a cannoli. It was fantastic. And it was National Coffee Milkshake Day. And I asked them, I walk in there and I'm like, can you guys make a coffee milkshake? And they said, we normally have coffee gelato here, but we don't have any, so we can't make one of those. I was like, can you put coffee in a normal milkshake? And the one girl was like, no, we can't. And then the manager, must be the manager, was then like, yeah, we could do that. We could do that. I was like, okay, she just said no, but whatever. And so they made me one. It was actually awesome. And so I just got vanilla and coffee milkshake, ate a cannoli. Fantastic. That's like great. Huh?
I was gonna say, yeah. You said there was Memento gelato and coffee. Where was that at?
It's at Michigan and Trumbull, so it's right by Old Tiger Stadium, right across.
Hell yeah! Good shout out. We gotta try that place next time we're there.
Definitely.
And then last and surely but least, what's up, Drew? Come on, man.
What up?
What's up?
Busy week, man. Going back to school on Thursday, but I had a good weekend. Won my frisbee playoff game. So we're going to Atlanta in 2 weekends. Chance to go to championship weekend, which is basically like the Final Four.
Professional athlete.
Yeah, not making enough to quit my day job.
Fair enough.
But it's been sweet. I don't know if y'all have been watching the Olympics, but probably one of the all-time like just dope looking like images with LeBron carrying the flag on that damn boat. Looked like Washington crossing the Delaware. Like, say what you want about LeBron, say what you want about the opening ceremony for these Olympics, but that's an all-time.
Yeah, all-timer. You said you're in school, man. You're almost 30, dude. You think you should give it up or what?
I know, I probably should. Yeah.
Fair enough. So most importantly, I think that we got our new kicker. And you guys know you guys know I've been ecstatic about this dude. Jake Bates, man, he's breaking right, dude. He's what was it? 2 60-yarders in Ford Field? When's the last time we hit a 60-yard field goal in Ford Field? Hey, George, I see the way you're looking at me, man. I think you agree with me.
Kane, I know that you've got a big appreciation for Asian culture. If Jake Bates was like a kung fu instructor, what would his name be?
This is gonna
Careful.
be bad.
In line situation.
George, help me out here. You got it. Kung fu instructor, Jake Bates.
Oh, Master Gator. It's got to be it, right?
I knew
Master
George.
Bates.
There we go. Master Bates. I like that.
That's fun too.
I was like, holy crap! I do not want to get canceled. So let me pass this on to somebody who's better equipped.
I didn't
No,
know
but
that.
very unfortunately, Michael Badgley is injured. Never want to see that. Dude was a decent kicker for us last year. We knew that wasn't our forte, but hate to see that. I'm very excited though for Jake Bates. Dude's got an interesting background. George, you're excited about this guy too. What do you think?
I am. So I was looking him up today, and he went to play soccer at Central Arkansas, and then he's like kind of following in his brother's footsteps at that point. I believe his brother played soccer there, and then he transfers to Texas Tech as a kicker, but kick off, not field goal kicks. and eventually Arkansas, where he's first team All SEC for kicking off.
Didn't know that was a
Pretty
thing.
wild. He hadn't made a field goal in game since high school at the time. Then when he made one at the what is that
Ford Field?
called? Yeah, what is it? UFL, USFL.
Yeah. Either UFL or XFL. I don't know what it is nowadays.
They combined into USFL, I believe.
Is that the one that The Rock owns?
Yes, sir. He owns it with his. Is it his ex-girlfriend? That
sounds horrible.
His daughter that's in the WWE, her mother.
This sounds like a bizarre movie. What movie are we talking about?
This is real life. I swear to you. I'm talking about the USFL.
It's
you're
real
talking about
life.
Jake Bates?
Yeah, I mean, we're a little bit sidetracked now, but yeah, we're talking about the USFL and how it's owned by The Rock and his ex-girlfriend. Or I don't know if they were married, ex-wife then,
I think it's his ex-wife, yeah. I think it's his ex-wife.
Vince McMahon's daughter, right?
Oh, no, not quite. Stephanie McMahon?
They might have
She's married to Triple H.
Oh.
Yes.
That would be... Weren't they rivals at one point?
Triple H
and
and
The
Stephanie
Rock?
McMahon? Yeah, Triple H is kind of a heel for a little while.
That would be such a cool situation if she cheated with The Rock.
Honestly, I love that this is the way that the Jake Bates conversation went, because talking about professional wrestling or like semi-pro football is way more important than talking about a kicker.
Okay, Drew, you want to know why it's important? Because we were a team that didn't really kick and we always win on fourth down. Now we have a kicker.
That's the
why
bread
it's
and butter,
important.
baby.
Right.
That's the Dan Campbell method.
So what's going to happen this year?
Live by the sword, die by the sword.
We have a guy who can thump them through.
Are you going to get conservative now?
I'm just saying. Last year, we're going to say Dan Campbell had, huge nuts all year, and that's why he did it on fourth down. It also was because we didn't always have a sound kicker. Now we do. So that changes things. So, like, we can say all day that it was Dan Campbell's, he's, hard-nosed football, goes on fourth down. But, I mean, now we have a kicker.
Drew, I think George is getting more conservative. You mentioned keeping the Lions great, or what is it? Make the Lions great again?
I did not.
I do think he wants to make it a little more conservative. Now, honestly, if we have a kicker, like I think I said this a couple weeks ago, I think having a legitimate kicker, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be conservative, but it means the other team has to prepare for both. I think there was times like we're at like the 33, 35 yard line, and you could tell Campbell just wasn't comfortable putting out, I shouldn't say Campbell, Dan Campbell wasn't comfortable putting out Honey Badger to kick that kick. And so teams knew that we were either going to punt it or go for it. So the options are just open now. If we're at the 40-yard line, we can kick it, and we can now probably introduce some fake kicks. I think honestly, you'll see within the first couple weeks of the season a Jake Bates fake situation where Jake Bates is on the field, but he doesn't kick it.
You all know who the all-time leading scorer is for the Lions?
Jason Hansen.
Is it Hansen's door repair?
It's Jason Hansen. How many playoff games did that dude win?
Yeah,
it's got to be zero, right?
I love this. I love this. Correlation is not causation. Argument that we're having right now.
I'm just saying, it's like we can have a great kicker, and it's like it does it really lead to.
Here's the thing, Drew. Here's the thing.
Honestly, my take is that we should get rid of kicking altogether. I hate watching kicking. I don't know why.
There was also I would argue there was less criminals while Pol Pot was doing the Cambodian genocide. So to your point, having less criminals didn't do anything to help the country. Come on, we need a kicker.
That's
Jason
absolute
Hansen.
Madness.
Jason Hansen played for 21 seasons for the Detroit Lions. How many of those seasons were winning seasons?
How many
Probably
quarterbacks?
4.
That's brain rot. That's a brain rot statement.
At one point, John Kitna was our best quarterback over like a five like season time span.
Yeah.
And he's literally has 169 touchdowns and 165 interceptions. So
That's
Jason
like Eli
Hansen,
Manning.
Look, I'm not saying John Kitna and Eli Manning are similar quality players, but
What's wrong with Eli?
I got one quote for you. One stat for you guys, and I just want to, maybe change Drew's perception on, going for it on fourth down. So the Lions have gone for it on fourth down 123 times since 2021, most in the league. Cardinals and Browns are second and third to that. In 2023, only one team went for it more times on fourth down than Detroit. Do you know what team that was? 2023? The Carolina Panthers. The worst team in the league went for more fourth downs than Detroit.
Because they had
a company to be in.
You got to risk it. I mean,
I think that's what we had to do. That leads to Jim's point of like Coach Campbell must have felt like
no. I get it. That's fair. That's a fair point. That's actually kind of funny. But I think that there's this weird obsession in Detroit with kickers ever since Justin Tucker just ripped the soul out of us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so I'm like,
true.
I really don't think that they're that impactful.
No, yeah. And I think one thing as a Lions fan, no matter how good or bad, mostly bad throughout the years that we always had Hansen and then we had Prater. And it almost feels like we're grabbing onto the safety raft, the safety tube, As a Lions fan, I just want to retreat back to that, but we got to let go and swim, baby.
Oh yeah.
What the hell is a safety tube?
I think
a little like orange tube that's like on the side of the boat.
No.
What's it? The donut. The safety donut.
life preserver.
The life preserver. We got to let go and swim.
Reach, throw, row, go.
Sounds like George on
Who
the Friday
taught you
night.
that? Who taught you that?
Who are you talking to?
You, Mr. Reach, Throw, Row, Go.
I was a lifeguard.
You were teaching people that.
I took lifeguard training. First
kiss
hour in
anybody
10th
during
grade.
You're such a good
So Taylor Decker, 3-year, $60 million extension. I think that's awesome. I mean, reinforcing the line with obviously an amazing veteran, a guy who's been amazing for us. The bigger question is the amount of money and extensions that we spent this year, somewhere totaled around $504 million. We got the St. Brown, we got this Penei Sewell, and then Jared Goff extensions as well. For $504 million, I don't know if that's a good thing, the bad thing. I think like a lot of Lions fans out there, I don't even know what that means.
Well, I'll tell you my opinion. I like to hear myself talk, but so if you think about it, the cap space right now is $250 million with projections to rise each year. I think by 2027, it's supposed to be, what is it supposed to be? Like $280 million, and it's going to keep rising. So the way to think about it is that $504 million is really, it's over the course of 4 to 5 seasons, depending on the contract. So it's not like, that is all coming due in one season. A lot of that money might never be seen either. I haven't looked at Taylor Decker's contract specifically, but my guess would be, usually the players never truly receive the headline number unless they're the best of the best. Like I would expect Amon-Ra, Penei, and maybe even Jared Goff to. But the other thing is, when you lock down the positions of import, the quarterback, one of the best offensive linemen in the game, a top 5 receiver, top 10, depending on your opinion, you still have, after those 3 guys, let's say like in 2027, for example, or let's go a little closer to now, 2026, that's 3 years down the road. Goff, Penei Sewell, and Amon-Ra are going to combine for about $130 million of cap. So you're looking at about a little under half the cap space, and you still got some guys to pay, right? But the average player, if you look at the Lions for like this year, just for an example, you could fill out the roster with guys like a David Montgomery who's making $6.8 million. You could fill out the roster with a DJ Reader, a Kevin Zeitler, Carlton Davis. You keep drafting guys, you keep drafting young guys, and you keep the cream of the crop, and then you have to draft the replacements, and that's what all the good teams do. So if you have a good GM in place, if you lock up the right guys, you're still going to be able to build out your roster. You see it with the 49ers. They've got 3 or 4 guys with crazy contracts. When you start getting into trouble is when you start giving out massive contracts to guys who have had one good season, or guys who, are not at the premier positions that you need to pay, like linemen, DBs, quarterback, wide receiver. And so the Lions are not going to be in any cap issues. They can, they'll still have money for Hutch. They'll still have money for Aleem. They'll still have money down the road for Laporta. And even if JMO, if he ever takes off, because you keep your marquee guys, and then you fill out the rest of the roster with B+ guys and young rookies. And that's what you do.
That was excellent, and I think honestly, you made me feel a lot better about that. When I heard about all that money, I was kind of freaking out, just because like a lot of Detroit Lions fans, I don't really understand that thing. So, thank you for explaining that.
On a different note, with the Decker signing, I don't know if you guys saw this, his the press conference after the news of his extension came out. He was just like the whole process. He was just like a really professional. And he talked about, he's like, I had to go talk to Dan and like had a man conversation with him. And then one thing I just loved is he's like, yeah, like we've been working on getting this deal done for a year and a half, and it stalled out again, but like I was never planning to not show up. I think one of the beat writers had asked him, like, was there any part of you that was thinking about not like holding out of OTAs or training camp? He's like, no, I'm showing up and doing my job, which is just like to be for, like, I don't know, in my eyes, Taylor Decker is he the longest tenured Lion? He might be. It's like to have that, like he's a leader in the locker room. He's a voice, and I don't know. It's awesome that he's going to spend his entire career in Detroit.
And to your point, Drew, a lot of times people think, and I'm even guilty of sometimes, the linemen, don't really make it into their late 30s. But honestly, a lot of the best linemen can make it into their late 30s because their game isn't completely predicated on athleticism. They're obviously super athletic for their size, but it's a lot more about their technique, their strength, their power, their positioning. And so that they have the potential, if they don't get if they don't have a ton of injuries, to play late into their career. Yeah. So, locking up your other starting tackle, and I assume it's basically going to be, hey, this year and next year, or whatever the first 2 years of the contract are they're probably fully expecting to pay him. And then that last year is, hey, if he's still playing at a high level and he's not injury prone and he can keep going, they'll keep him around. And I think, on the Lions, again, we've talked about this a million times, the offensive line, the reason that this team got better and the reason that Jared Goff got better is because of the offensive line. So if you have your two tackles booked, Frank Bragnow's still under contract for a couple of years, and then if you can fill out the rest of the line with young guys or average starters, you're cooking
with gasoline, baby. I love it.
George, you got nothing to say? Didn't you play offensive line in high school?
I did not play offensive line. I didn't play.
Well, no, yeah, you did. You were a nose tackle.
I played defensive line. I didn't play offensive line.
Speaking of defensive line, George, I know you got an opinion on something like this. So, Aleem McNeil, talking about contracts, is this a prove-it year for him?
I think so. I don't think they're going to get a deal done right now, or why would they? I think right now it is a prove-it year because he's gonna have some help, and I mean theoretically, on paper the D line is going to be pretty good this year. So, and he's a big part of that, and so if he is as good as everybody's saying he's about to be, I think this man will get paid. But this is a prove-it year, I believe.
To me, he's already kind of proven one thing, which is that he is a above average to good starting D tackle in this league. And Brad Holmes today even said he wants to get the deal done. I think the Lions should get the deal done sooner rather than later, because I think if he explodes this season and proves that he's as good as I think a lot of Lions fans think he can be, I think we're not going to be able to afford it.
Yeah, and he's part of that young core with Penei, Shibbs, and Amon-Ra. Maybe it's a little bit more risky to lock him down before the end of the season, but I'd kind of like to see it get done just because, DJ Reader is 30 and has injury history issues. Yeah, like, what can we get much better? Like, is there anything out there that we'd get,
How long of a contract would you like him to get?
I like the similar deal to kind of what Decker got. Not in the money wise, but years.
Yeah. I think you'd have to give him 4. I would like 3, but also I think if you can get him at a good number, like if you can get him at a Decker number, and you give him 4 years, that's, I think, again, there's probably other guys you're not gonna be able to pay, but if you can get him at 4 years for $20 million with like a team option for that 4th year, that'd be huge. I don't know if he goes for that. I'm not who knows? I don't know jack shit about like contract negotiations and what's market, but I just have a feeling that, like George said, I feel like he's just going to continue to be a huge piece of the core.
Yeah, I think he's going to be pivotal to the success of our defense and ultimately our team this year. So, like you guys said, I would like a deal. I imagine they go look at the first couple weeks, see how he performs, and try to knock that deal out probably by week 5 or 6. That'd probably be the best. So a little bit of fun here, but if you had to pick any Detroit Lions player currently that you had to fight to the death and win, who are you picking? And not Jake Bates.
Or punter.
Yeah, no kicker or punter.
Players we least like to, or we fare the best against?
Yeah.
This is
Why
the
would
guy
I
that you're
choose
going to
the
fare
kicker?
against. No, the guy you'd fare against the best. Whose ass are you kicking?
Give me Master Bates.
No kicker.
Oh,
No
okay.
kicker or punter.
And no long snapper.
Who's the smallest guy out there?
You gotta be like Khalif Raymond or something like that.
No, he's gonna fuck you up, Drew. He's gonna fuck you up.
He'd fuck you up, Drew.
But that's not the question. The question is, who do you stand the best chance against?
Yeah.
I agree.
No,
I
we're
agree.
gonna word it. I'm wording it 2 different ways. So the first one is, who do you have the best chance against?
Honestly,
right, okay.
honestly, J-Mo is pretty skinny. I feel like I could.
He might know how to throw hands.
So
That seems. Why do you say that, George?
J-Mo would look like Drew fighting Drew. That's what that would look like.
He's tough.
yeah, Drew fighting Drew would be good. I'm trying to think, who's the third string QB? Nate Sudfeld. He's pretty heavy though. He's big. He's 6'6".
6'6".
Yeah, you know what, J-Mo might be a good answer. There's some guys down the roster that are skinnier, like Stephen Gilmore, Maurice Alexander.
Hey,
I'm looking at the roster,
What
but
about
give me
Tom
Ben-
Kennedy?
Give me Tom Kennedy.
Yeah.
Is he on the?
Yeah, I'm cracking Tom Kennedy's job, bro.
Give me give me
my choice.
Ben Johnson's nerdy looking ass.
if we could fight coaches, then that's a whole different story. But I'm probably going Khalif just because he's 5'8", 175, so he's my height but 20 pounds heavier and probably could beat the shit out of me. But let's look. Who's an old ass coach on the Lions? Assistant wide receiver Seth Ryan. Let's see what Seth Ryan's about. Sorry, Seth. Seth Ryan might be my answer.
There we go.
Honestly, though, our coaching staff against between DC, Kelvin Shepard, I honestly feel like we could take pretty much every other coaching. Like in a brawl, our coach would beat every other coaching staff in the league.
I mean, now that Mike Vrabel's out of the league, I think Dan Campbell's undisputed. Like before, I think that would have been the finals of like a coach fight ring, but I think now it's Dan Campbell without a doubt.
You think
Without
you
a
can take
doubt.
Andy Reid?
I never
This isn't a hot dog eating competition. I think it'll be
I
fun.
think he's fucking crushing your little ass.
I could beat him. Andy Reid would probably smash my brains in, but honestly, he'd probably just sit on me. You know what he looks like? He looks like a walrus. If you gave him some tusks, I bet you he could be a good walrus.
Got the
Yeah, I
big
agree with you.
stash.
And then let's reverse it. So who do you think would just smash your skull in? Who do you have the least likely chance to defeat?
Honestly, hate to say it, Aiden Hutchinson would probably fuck me up, bro. That guy's just like he's like a superhuman body.
Oh yeah, but
The
dude,
dude- Go ahead, Jim.
no, you go. No.
Oh, all right.
all right, I'll go.
Shut up. The guy that I like, the sneaky one. But I think once I say it, you guys will agree. Frank Ragnow. The dude is like tough, and I feel like he would like take a punch in the face and just like it would not face him.
Oh,
Yeah, he'd be tough to deal with. He'd be brutal. I got one obvious one and not as obvious one, but I think Penei Sewell would just literally rip me limb from limb. He'd hold me up in the air like I'm like a doll. I'd be screaming, help, help, and he'd just literally rip all my limbs off. And then I think someone else that, he's big, so I guess it's not going to be that much of a shock, but John Kaminsky, he just literally looks like his arms are cannons on the field. So, and he's a little more skinny than some of the other like true DNs and D tackles.
Do you remember seeing Dan Skipper after they threw the flag or say he didn't report, how angry he was on the sideline?
Yeah.
I literally was sitting on my couch watching, and it literally scared me.
Oh yeah,
It's
Oh, Skipper. Yeah.
he
He was
he, I,
roaring.
he would
He was
he'd put my
legitimately
chicken
roaring.
up.
Yeah,
Roaring.
you guys are trembling. I remember that.
Well, George called me scared, upset. He said this just doesn't seem like something the kids should be seeing on TV.
No. You got to change the rating. You got to put a
Yeah.
parental lockcode on that.
I think I have to go with Frank Ragnow literally fighting a razorback, a 400-pound razorback. That's what that feels like.
I got a question though. So, your answer may remain the same as what you guys just said, but let's change this. Scenario is gladiator style. You have to choose a partner to help you. Somebody on, like, it's going to be like gladiator with sword, shield, whatever you
Yeah.
choose.
Yeah.
And this player is going to help you. Who do you choose?
Ooh, I like this one.
Because that's why I chose Aiden. That's kind of what I had going in my head. I was like, this guy could be a crazy warrior. Because I think, like, you give Ragnar and Aiden the sword, I think Aiden's cutting off that fucker's head.
he's got the skill. He's got the footwork.
Yeah, I don't know. He's Waluigi. He's Waluigi out there.
He does have those flimsy limbs. That's true. That's a good point.
I might go Barnes or Anzalone. They got the size, speed, strength.
You
go
what about
Anzalone.
Jack Campbell, bro?
Honestly, Malcolm is not.
Well, if we're allowed to fight dirty, give me Kirby.
Campbell,
That's a good one.
Like a human, like gladiator. He's 6'5", 243, all muscle. Looks mean as shit. I'm sure he's right. He looks mean. He looks like the type of guy in football practice that would literally just like the backup in his little town high school. He'd just literally level them out of their cleats and permanently make a guy hate football.
It's just funny because he's pretty soft spoken in his interviews, from what I've seen.
That's the psychos. The psychos are the ones that are quiet.
It's
Except
the
when they're
quiet
out there.
ones. It's always the quiet ones.
They're always out there just absolutely decleating people and like just insane. Yeah. So a couple good ones today. Nothing. Well, there actually was another one about masturbation, which is always fun. There was a talk about training. So there was a post about training camp day 5 observations, and Penei has talked about, including on the NFL top 100 player list, about how he loves going up against Hutch Aiden in practice because it's always a great matchup. Iron sharpens iron. So someone said Penei versus Hutch makes me, and then posted this meme that said, "In the strip club, straight up jorking it, and by it, haha. Well, let's just say my penis." So that's just good fun. That's just good fun. But lots of masturbation going on the Detroit Lions subreddit.
Damn, George, you must be in that subreddit.
Oh, actually, he doesn't even try to hide it. She hate 96. She hate 96 on there. He's literally posting graphic content, getting reported by people every day.
Somehow he gains more followership.
People like it. People like a little. They like a little controversy.
I feel like Reddit in general has some of the most miserable people on earth, but it also has some of the corniest. So you've got like this horrifying mix, and so that's why it makes just great content.
Yeah, Reddit is a dark and twisted place.
They're quick to speak on there. I noticed they're quick to talk. Very much
right.
so.
Well, they get the high hand there. Look, they look like they're guys that look like me, except who never got braces, and they're talking shit about guys who are making $50 million a year. So, yeah, I'm not. There's just a bunch of weenies on there, and myself included, because I spent an inordinate amount of time on there. But a bunch of weenies.
What's your guys' support level for USA at the Olympics right now?
Through the roof, baby.
What are we talking about?
You're not even wearing red, white, and blue. When's the last time you wore red, white, and blue? When your mom bought your red, white, and blue outfit from Kmart and made you dress up on the 4th of July? Last time you wore that.
Wait,
I got underwear on.
My mom still does that.
Shout out to moms.
No,
shout out to mom dudes.
You bring up kind of a cool topic there. Is it what event are you guys most excited to watch in the Olympics?
Track, sprinters, every time. And rugby. Rugby was cool. It was cool. And
swimming is fun to watch. The sprinting is fun. Basketball is obviously pretty cool if that stays competitive. And the skateboarding. Skateboarding is pretty sweet. That was new last Olympics.
Yeah, my favorite's the floor routine. I love the gymnastics. I love watching them do flips and shit. Like, I just like things that I couldn't even dream about ever doing in my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I like.
You wish you could do that?
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think I could.
You
I
don't?
think that way about a lot of pretty much every event, but unless you go around thinking you could do all those events, and that's perhaps your toxic trait. Floor routines are pretty cool, Drew. I will say that it's hard for me to differentiate the one routine from the other, but unless they mess up. But yeah, they always look crazy good.
They'll finish, and I'll be sitting there, and I'm like, yeah, that's a perfect score. That's a 10. That's a 10, and they'll like come out, and it'll be like a 6.1. I'll be like, what?
Awful round from her.
The gymnastics makes me nervous too. Like when they're on the balance beam, like I don't want to see them mess up. And and then the bars too, and they're swinging around
the bars make me nervous. I feel like that would hurt.
Face plant like
Did you
today.
guys
I watched
see
that.
I just feel like it would hurt. Like, you know how when they swing around the bar, like on their hips, I'm like, how does it not hurt? You know what I'm talking about?
I'm sure it did at one point, but these people are strong as hell.
They got Dan Campbell coaching them, huh?
They got a mental toughness. That
he would be a helpful coach.
I think so. I think we need to get him out there before the Pistons games. Get him in those locker rooms.
Honestly, he's a culture coach, so at the end of the day, he may not know a lot about basketball, but he could relate to the player.
Get them boys fired up.
Yeah. Maybe have Monty Williams coach like the local 8th grade Catholic youth organization team.
Well, he's getting paid for the next 5 years.
Who knows?
Yeah, might as well put in some work in the Detroit area.
Yeah.
Is that dead?
He might improve those teams.
Jim?
He's dead. He's dead to me. I don't know if it's dead cap, but he's dead to me.
What event are you most excited for, Caine?
Yeah.
Oh no, I liked watching the rugby, dude. If you look at this, so Fiji is every year considered top 3 team in the world, like New Zealand, Fiji, but Fiji is amazing. And on their sevens team, every single dude on that field is the same size, speed, muscular structure of DK Metcalf. Those dudes are absolutely insane. And so that when I think about I was watching, I was like, these dudes must be seriously, everyone competing in Olympics is like the best athlete, right, at their respective sport. But these dudes are running 4.4s, 4.5s, and then like consistently. So you talk about the endurance aspect, like rugby itself is pure endurance plus strength, power, speed. So that's probably one of the most exciting things for me to watch.
You're telling me that the breakdancers are the peak athletes?
Yeah, how do you even judge that, like objectively? I feel like that's not an objective score.
Similar to like a gymnastics routine. It's like a dance.
Gymnastics isn't a dance.
Well, it's a routine.
It's a routine
with tricks.
Yeah,
this is gonna be like a gym. It's kind of like a dance.
You know what else? You know what else is getting added? Football.
Yeah, what do we think about that?
Flag football.
Flag. So I don't think the typical NFL player. I mean, a lot of the players are going to be horrible at that, but like even like Tyreek Hill is good, super fast, but I think the best player at that would be a lot skinnier and more like shifty.
More shifty than Tyreek Hill.
Like as shifty, but like skinnier. Like him being built like that is going to be a disadvantage in flag, I'd say.
Running a 4.2.
Not completely, but
how would it be a disadvantage in flag?
big body, easy to get on.
I will say I was last week or 2 weeks ago. I was in Chicago. I was in a hotel room, and the National Flag Football Championships were on. I'm like I tuned in to see if I could bet on it. Turns out you can't, but
communism.
It was kind of like a preview. I kind of liked the rules. It's kind of like it's obviously a lot different than the NFL football.
I think tell me this, Drew. What was the body type on most of the players there?
Well, I was specifically watching the women's national championship, so I don't know if that's like kind of
slender,
like
probably slender.
Honestly, no, but it was the muscular for sure. No, I think that the only one is. Are there any line? I mean, it's Jahmyr Gibbs or J-Mo or Amon-Ra, right? They're the only ones that
should there be a tryout? Do you think like NFL players should have to try out to make the team like everybody else, or
think they should do it
Absolutely.
like the NBA or the basketball team where there's like, like a top group that's like LeBron is going to be on the team if he wants to be on the team. Patrick Mahomes should be on the team if he wants to be on the team. I don't know at every position that's the case, but like there's certain players that should just be on the team.
But you see, Jim, that's kind of tough because there's so many more positions and they're not like in basketball, you can have guys that can play 4 out of the 5 positions. And like at best, you have maybe like Jahmyr Gibbs can play wide receiver, he can play running back. Like
Maybe DB, maybe.
Yeah. So there, I think like you're like Penei Sewell, a couple weeks ago I called him the best player in the NFL, and I'm like, he's probably not making the
Do you
cut.
even have linemen in flag football?
You say probably not making the cut? There's no chance he's on that team. Why the fuck would they have him?
Hey, did you see him? Did you see him on? Did you see him catch that football
Against the Vikings? You remember that?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Dive for the first
I don't
down.
think they have. All right, unless they have linemen in flag football, which is just seems
No,
stupid.
they don't. I don't think they do.
Yeah, I
the
think
center, but he can go out for a pass.
right. So I think you make the center like
Like a
tight
DK.
end type guy.
Yeah, or
Like DK
Kittle.
works too.
Make it like a Travis Kelce, maybe.
Yeah, Penei Sewell's he's amazing,
Yeah.
but he's not making that team at all.
Yeah, no Sewell. Kelsey would be a great pick because what's his biggest issue, George? What's he not great? What's he okay at?
I think the interesting.
Blocking. He doesn't have the block.
Correct. He'd be filthy, I think.
I think
Well,
the
the
interesting
thing is, I
thing
don't know.
will be like on the defensive side of the ball. Like I don't think the deep NFL defensive players will be any better than like a wide receiver.
You don't
it's
think a DB? You don't think like a Sauce Gardner would be better than like a a CD Lamb at playing DB?
I guess maybe. I mean, but I guess I'm just thinking about like the physicality aspect and like the tackling. Like it's not.
I get your point. Actually, in the front seven, I agree, and in the I think the real position where it probably just wouldn't be automatically like the best at their position would be linebacker because you don't really need someone who delivers crushing blows. You need someone who can keep up with everything. So maybe you have like extra DBs there. So there's probably it probably ends up just being all the skill position guys playing a lot, and maybe like
Right.
Wonder could maybe I don't know how is there like can you rush in flag football?
You can, but it's pointless. There's no advantage
Why is there no advantage to rushing?
because then you can rush because then you can rush immediately. Like as soon as the ball leaves the quarterback's hands, the defense can rush pat. Like you don't have to count like in you're playing in backyard football and you're counting in 5 apple. It's the same rules. I think they might have to line up deeper.
Yeah.
I was
It's
going to
not,
say
like,
2 yards
counting.
off the ball. 2
Caine
yards off
and
the
I
ball.
ref flag football, fun fact. And
yeah.
they had these little pucks you'd put out, one for the line of scrimmage and one 7 yards back, and the kids could rush if they were behind that puck.
Honestly, we made good money off of, but nightmare fuel. Absolute nightmare. Every Sunday waking up to go ref flag football.
Reffing youth sports in general. I'd ref basketball. It's the parents. Oh my gosh, it's like stressful.
Parents,
Really?
coaches, makes me all want to just eat a bullet.
It's an odd job for children to have, I will say. Not too
Yeah.
often are there jobs where you get screamed at, and this is a job we're allowing children to do. So I think parents need to fucking check themselves when they're at these fucking games.
I think it's because Jim had a beard when he was 17, so people just assumed he was like a 25-year-old kid.
Open the most raggedy ass clothes too, because I would actually take that back. I'd show up in the real uniform, but before the game, I'd have like a white T-shirt that was 3 sizes too big on. I'd pull up, with my baggy shorts. But the real issue I had was there was 2 coaches who threatened me physically, and I was one of the times I was 15 years old. I mean, what in
What'd
the
you say
heck?
back to him?
I said, I literally said verbatim, "You're a freak. I'm 15 years old."
This is the Lions Mane Podcast.
What you just listened to was the latest episode of the Lions Mane Podcast. If you don't already, give us a follow on X and Instagram to participate in the community discussions. Also subscribe on our website, www.lionsmainpodcast.com, to receive notifications on our most recent post. As always, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Cheers.